Hello. Well, here we are again, live. And let me set this up where I can see the chat in my own little way. We're going to look at some production artwork and original artwork. So some fun stuff, real quick. Promise you content every day. I've changed my background. You might see some things that brand new changed. Want to talk about the Herculoids a little bit. Hannibal 1970. These are reproductions, but this particular nice one on the title there, the cut the in color of all the characters. You had Zoc, great cartoon designed by Alex Toth and or Alex Toth, as some people call him. If I get that wrong, I'm sorry. Tundro, much like a rhinoceros, could shoot energy pellets from his horn. You have Xandor, you have a family group here with their sort of pet animal or group. Gleep and Gloop, Dorno, their son, and Tara, the mother, and Igu, the rock ape. And then these are reproductions, but they're from the designs of Hanna-Barbera, 1970, by Alex Toth. That is of Zoc. So this is a way that could see the character, and you see Xandor, I believe, on his back there. That may be Dorno. It looks like Xandor though, yeah, and that's Xandor with a shield. And it was they lived on a very primitive and planet and quasar, and they had a resurgence of a lesser quality cartoon, in my opinion, in the 80s, although it wasn't bad. And they did have some team ups with some things at the time. But these were designed by Alex Toth, and just very nice to see his early animated stuff that he did. You see Xandor on Zoc's back there, three different ways. He's firing an energy pellet that he fired with like a slingshot. He's got his shield and his arms raised up there as he kind of dives, and Zoc could fire laser beams from his eyes. You see down here by my pinky, his eyes are kind of lit up with getting ready to fire. And then in this one here, he's actually firing from his tail. He could fire an energy bolt from his tail and his eyes. And they had distinctive animal sounds that they did on there. If you've ever watched Herculoids, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Um, Here's some other characters' designs from Herculoids. Uh, this one is Tundro. Have to see if I think only on the first was double sided. Um, I'm streaming tonight a little bit because I promised you daily content, and I haven't made a video yet. So here we are. Um, ton doing some stuff that I really enjoy. Tundro's design, armor plating there. Like I say, he could fire an energy pellet from his horn. And look at, he's got 5 legs on each side, because so he's got 10 legs. And just wonderful design covers, simplistic for animation, but I mean, just the character and the expressions and things that they got. Really, 60s was the golden age of animation. You had Filmation, that was an American based animated out of in California, and Ted Knight, that was on the Miller Moore show. He did a lot of work, a lot of voiceover work. He did the Joker and other characters in the Batman series, and in other series that Filmation did from very beginning of Filmation. And but this was Hanna-Barbera. They were a larger company. Usually animation goes from the left to the right, so you see the camera pan from the left to the right a lot, or the action goes that way. But it really was the golden age till Ted Kennedy and some others got in. Hey, Simon, just saw you pop in. Uh, Welcome to the chat. And here's Igu, the rock ape from Herculoids, Alex Toth design. Just look at those feet, how big they are. It's clobbering time, as the thing would say. And then we have the family members, and I actually have another original piece. I will be showing some original artwork here. So if you want to stick with me, Simon, you'll get to see some a smattering of just about a little bit of everything. But these are character cards, and this has Dorno. I do have an original Dorno drawing. I can't remember if I think it's a drawing for like animation sale, but I do have one Adorno, the Sun, original from 1967, because they were in the early 60s. These character designs, I don't know why they were copyrighted so late in 1970, but it looks like part of Dorno's design there. His shoulder's missing there, little gap there in the drawing. But these were designed by Alex Toth, and if you saw Spider-Man, 1967 up to the early 70s, was a better animated, and I would say Fantastic Four that did 19 uh, episodes um, of Fantastic Four. They were the better animated cartoons. The Marvel cartoons were pretty stinky. They took exactly from the panels. Um, yeah, I love the Herculoids too, Simon. It's just awesome. There's Tara and the family together. They put them as groupings how they would look together. Just a great thing. I want to show you somebody, and I can't tell you who the artist is, but some things that I picked up. This is original artwork of Aquaman, and this one's kind of different. I don't know if it picks up on camera too well, but you can see the blue line in this one, that he did it in blue line, and then he inked it of Aquaman. I just picked this up from an artist. I like his style. Picked up a few pieces on eBay years ago. Who knows what he'll go on to do? He's got a very animated style. Uh, the great thing is, I have then he colorized and did a print of it. So I have a lot of these that are I have the original artwork that he did, and then the colored print. Now, doesn't that look good side by side? Gonna have to get some of these things matted, and then he would do some revisions too. And in this, he put in the logo and different backgrounds if he didn't draw them in more simplistic. Here's Sandman from Marvel Comics, and this is original artwork of Sandman. So I hope you enjoy his artwork. Yeah, very, very Bruce Timmish. Yeah, that did the DC Batman and Superman, and in the early '90s later. Yeah, and then again the color version of Sandman. So these are just great to look side by side and see it in black and white. And these are just inked. I don't see any blue line. Only the Aquaman, which was kind of fitting because Aquaman's underwater and it's got some blue with it. But, yeah, to see these things together, they're pretty neat. I like his style. I think he looks like, here's Mr. Fantastic stretching. But look what he does with this, very simplistic, right? Comedic, almost, Plastic Man-like. But, look what he, put the background in the logo, Mr. Fantastic, just going off in the distance on those discs. He just had fun. It almost has a graffiti feel to it, some of these colors um, that he did. Here's Black Bolt from the Inhumans. I'll show these together. You can see that he just did a simplistic figure, and then he does a Black Bolt, and then he does all this, puts in the logo and the different effects around him, the different background. Just fun little pieces, very colorful. And then we've got Ghost Rider from Marvel Comics. You think there'll be another Ghost Rider movie coming out here, in the near future? Maybe a Ghost Rider 3. Who knows? I watched a video on that. But here's the Ghost Rider. This is the original, penciled and inked. And then this is what he did in the computer, which, look at the flames. that he did. Very, very nice. Very nice. We'll get to some heavier artwork here in a minute. Sure, some people that you do know, but I did want to show these off along with the Herculoids. They really have an animated feel. There's bam. There's some AAT. Well, uh there's some booty anyway, you know. Uh Spider Woman, and then colored. This one kind of went lame on me, but I do love this original costume. It's a great color. I think this is to me this is Spider Woman. Of course, she didn't have the flowing hair like she does here in her early. She was an agent when she first appeared in Marvel Comics. She was an agent of Hydra, and had to get out of that. Now, my favorite character, sadly, I didn't have the original art. He probably kept that for the. He did the Beast for the kid, um, from the X-Men, the blue version, the blue hairy version. I asked Stan Lee why, when he went back to X Factor, uh, uh, I saw Stan Lee in 1986 when they were celebrating. Marvel was celebrating their anniversary, um, and he would give out autographs free then, and still would have a long line, but nothing like toward the end of his life at San Diego Con, which is just insane. You might have a 2 mile long, all day long uh, a line of people to get his autograph, and they were paying pretty hefty for it to autograph various items. This is the Beast that he did, but sadly, I don't have uh, the original to it, but all in color, and he's standing on his old logo or pouncing, the mischievous look. And this is more like the one I like. I experienced the Beast with early George Perez artwork. I don't like the cat-like look they've given him. Simon says I don't miss doing those. I don't get to do as much anymore. I might sit down and go back and trad and do a few and website. That's nice. Yeah. Okay, let's get to some heavy hitting things. And if people aren't in here except for Simon, I had Don Chin on another stream, but he might be somewhere else. Let's see what we have up here. This is original artwork. This is from um, AC Comics, and it's signed by Bill Black, who put out Paragon. He's actually got two brandings, Paragon. This is from Captain Paragon issue 3, page 6, and that's the original artwork signed by him in red down there. I've got a lot of original artwork, a lot of production artwork, and some unpublished pieces, and we're going to take a look at those as well. Bill Black, I know, did a piece for DC in Tarzan. The inks to it, I've seen him ink for Marvel. And Bill Black's lesser known. He lives in Florida. I've got a whole row right there. I think that's them of his movies. If not, it's on the top thing of just his home because he's a filmmaker as well. And I've gotten all the inserts signed by him. I'd say, well, I got Bill Black signing stuff recently. You can go on his website on, I think he goes under Red Wing. Um, yeah, that is a sweet piece. I like that. I always like Captain Paragon. This is kind of like done on a vellum, I guess you call. Well, it has a cover sheet there. It's done on Bristol, but I got Bill Black to sign it. He did not draw it. It's his figure Tara, and it's with a gorilla, and he's holding a drink, hot beverage. Because I see the steam. I'll show it to you here in a minute. Tara, Jungle Queen. It says. Cover sheets, keep it clean. And it's like a tracing paper that they have stuck over here. But this is menaced by Emil von Horn. I guess that's the artist that did this. And I got it signed by Bill Black. And that's his character, Tara, with a gorilla. And it's just a pencil on Bristol. Hasn't been inked. And this was unseen artwork, so you're getting to see unseen, unique artwork for the first time. Um, Here's another production piece because I was going to talk about production artwork as well as original artwork, and it's signed by Bill Black. I had him send it. This is an approval cover. This is for Film Force number 83 from AC Comics, and has, of course, Film Force is made up of Miss Victory, Night Vale, She-Cat, Sin, Stardust, and Terra. And yeah, Miss Victory on the cover with, I believe, a reimagining of Captain Paragon there, and they're kind of comparing muscle power there. But he signed it down here, Bill Black. I had him sign everything. Please sign it. I actually got a nice book that I'll be featuring from him from his own personal collection. That's an early Marvel, one of those early Marvel monster books. I'm just pulling from random here. We'll see some more Bill Black stuff here in a minute, probably. But here is a stat. I've talked about those. That's part of the production process there. And you see Superman there with wings in heaven and the angels. This is from Plop. And it also has, I've got an earlier video on Plop. It has Sergio Aragonés artwork on it, a character up here. And then he did all the little things around that the panels are laid on. These stats would have been made and given around for, in the printing process to the people that work there. This is Kurt Schaffenberger artwork and Sergio Aragonés. So it's kind of a mashup there. All the small little artwork is for Sergio. And I met Sergio. He's the fastest artist I've ever seen. He did a Gru head for me. I asked him just to sign my program, and he gave it back to me in 2 seconds. I will swear to that on a stack of Bibles. He had not only signed it within 2 seconds, but he had drawn me a little Gru head, which I did not ask for. That was a nice little thing, but he did it so quick. It was like I handed it to him and I handed it back, and he had it on there. Uh, Simon says, I've been going through some public domain characters to bring one. It's been one of a hell of a ride through comic book history. I know there's some great. I want to compile and actually introduce some great public domain characters. Anybody can use them, and who knows? Maybe one day we'll be able to use Superman the way he was originally designed. I mean, he's coming up, and they're trying everything from DC to not let it go. These are test covers. They're fully printed. These would have been um, these are approval cover. Well, they're test covers. They print them off and they pull these for inspection. I guess you could call them approval covers. This is Defenders number 8, and it has Red Ghost, and I love Red Ghost and his Super Apes. Made his first appearance in Fantastic Four number 13, and so did the Watcher. That was the only issue that had Steve Ditko inking Jack Kirby's artwork in Fantastic Four. Ditko did ink the cover to number 14. These pencils, but I did only the cover. It was, but the cover, and Ditko didn't ink the cover on number 13, but he inked all the inside, and you have to look at the early like Groot and when it was Atlas, or right before it became Marvel. Ditko inked a lot of those early Jack Kirby stuff, and man, you can't get any better than those two, I think. But that's just like was totally trimmed out here around the edge. They call these test covers, and that's part of the production artwork too. But that would have been just like I mean, this is not just a cover, like with no guts in it. It's actually part of the production of the book. Um, Test covers are pretty neat because they have all the colors printed on them. They're different from a color guide. Here's Journey into Mystery number 9. Um, don't have these labeled on who did the artwork. This almost looks a little Steve Ditko to me, but not quite. He might have done some inks there, but I'm not even sure about that. It may be Everett. I mean, look at the water and everything. Just you get all just cover without the guts, But yeah, and these could be more prevalent. You might have 5 or 6 of them made, pulled. Um, Here's Rawhide Kid 121. And this is probably this is Larry Lieber. Larry Lieber was Stanley's brother, and he did a lot of work for Marvel and editing and things. And he worked on a lot of the westerns and other things with Dick Ayers. And that's just a beautiful cover done by them. Very colorful Bronze Age book, 25 center, and that's when I started, 25 cents. I might even saw this on the stands. I may not have. Um, oh, you have number one. Number one. Okay. Number one of Defenders. Is that what you have? Or you have number one of Journey in the Mystery? And I showed an early Journey in the Mystery number 30 something on another thing on my channel. So go check that out. They've all been live streams. I figure now this is one of my favorites. This is Gil Kane artwork, and this shows his design prowess. I believe Gil Kane, in my opinion, depending on who inked him, a lot of times he'll ink his own stuff, especially in the early 80s. And he was like Alex Toth that did designs. Alex Toth came up with Space Ghost. He worked on Herculoids, a lot of the classic 60s cartoons for Hanna-Barbera. And then Morrow worked on Spider-Man, the 1967 Spider-Man, and he did character designs. And you can see Gray Morrow in that. It's not as original of a cartoon as Herculoids was. Yeah, or was it Kid Coat by Stan Lee or Kid Coat? Not sure anymore. I would have to check. Rawhide Kid, my uncle gave it to me. Oh, that's cool. But now Gil Kane, he was probably the premier artist, in my opinion, for Marvel covers in the 60s. I mean, in the 70s. He really hit his stride on the Bronze Age. And I want you to look at the design of this. If you know design at all, you know this is just this blows me away. And it's not really a loved comic, but Thongor, look, he's got this circular thing going on here in the design with the swords. This sword leads you up, and the logo kind of stops you. His sword comes down, and then this sword leads you down to him. And for an extra bonus, hanging off the edge of the freaking comic is the girl. Great lizard men. I mean, definitely you can tell Ditko's style, his knees, elbows. He's been an influence on me. He's a big influence on Howard Chaykin and others, although it may not check in their style. But this is one of my favorites, just because that circular motion of the swords and how he positioned the figures keeps your eye right there in the center where you should be seeing the action, and you see the girl just almost as a leftover, but part of the design hanging off. The different weights to that. I mean, this is a wonderful book. This is Creatures on the Loose, featuring Thongor number 29, and it's a 25 center. You probably pick this up cheap on eBay or some other place. And that's a test cover. These are all test covers and part of the production artwork. Here's another Thongor number 26, an earlier one. And forgetting who did the artwork on this. Should have looked these up. But anyway, hey, Greg. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, you're in here. That's good. Yeah, yeah. At least I haven't got any bots yet. But Creatures on the Loose featuring Thongor, another great, leap into the action. Don't quite like that as well as the other one, but I mean it's a one cover, great colors. That's a great thing. These were printed on the this is the great thing about these are, it's production artwork, but I mean it's printed on this good stock paper, just like your cover would. It's not on the newsprint, so the colors really pop off of it. And these are in great shape. I mean, these were filed away. These are like file copy covers that would have been kept at the printers. Yeah, meaty. You'll have to go back and look at some of the meaty stuff we covered early. Ringo Kid, number 20. Got some westerns in here. That's a 20 center. So that's right before I started collecting. I started at 25 cents. Imagine getting a comic for 25 cents. For $1, you could get 4, but you'd have to pay tax. My mother would never give me the tax, so I'd have to get 3. But anyway, Ringo Kid number 23. This is a Herb Trimpe cover. Herb Trimpe, of course, uh, did wonderful books like Incredible Hulk 180 and 181, first appearance of Wolverine. Of course, he didn't design the character, but sadly, Herb Trimpe's left us now. But yeah, this is a wonderful Ringo Kid done by him, and just look at the colors. It looks fresh and minty, just like you would see it on the stands. And these are called test covers. I guess you could call them approval covers, untrimmed. But you can find these readily available a little bit more than you can other covers. Um, that are out there. Here's a Marvel triple action, and I bought this as well. I don't think I started with this; it was later in the run, but number 13 with the Swordsman, he's getting some play in Marvel movies. You got Quicksilver and Hawkeye, Captain America, and Scarlet Witch was the team in the Avengers. Of course, this was the reprint issue, and it used the original Jack Kirby cover. It's interesting to get and just see this color change, from the original Avengers, if you got the issue that this cover was featured on originally. It looks like maybe Don Heck. Maybe not Don Heck. It could be Don Heck inks on that, but it's definitely Jack Kirby. I would say Don Heck inks on that. Don Heck did a lot of Avengers. Here's a one shot, a Western team up featuring Rawhide Kid and the Dakota Kid. There was only first fast shooting issue. So it combined the Rawhide. This is the first appearance of Dakota Kid. And I don't know if he made subsequent, I think he did, but not very often. But this was a kind of a tryout for them. Western team up number one. But this was the only issue. 20 center, beautiful color. Good to see everybody out. Here's another Marvel triple action number 15 with Power Man. Power Man's first appearance. Of course, not in the triple action. This was a reprint, but in the original, and they used the original artwork to put together these compilation covers for a reprint. And I really appreciated Marvel triple action because it showed me the old. I didn't like the old as well as I did the George Perez that I started out on, the newer ones. Here's a Red Wolf number 9, and I like that his costume's kind of colored a little different and a little different on this one. I really like that. I really like this cover, just by the artist who drew him. Another 20 center. Some of this Western stuff, I hope get some love, like some more books here pretty soon. Okay, that's that stack there. Ooh, original artwork. Hey, chime in with a 1 or something. Let me know you're out there, still in the chat. This is a John Buscema, signed by John Buscema, Conan page. This would be a page number 17. It says I have these listed up on eBay for sale right now. John, these are preliminary drawings. So this is another part of the process. He would do drawings for Savage Sword of Conan. Oh, great, Greg, glad to see you're out there. Yeah, big old signature. He'd sign these really big. He would put these on a light box, and then this would be the layout of the page. And sometimes they have notation. Very rarely, I've got one where the first panel says flop, and that means they flopped it and had him pointing the other direction. So he just flopped the image. He drew it one way, and later on the original page, he made a notation on the original page to flop it. And that's done on it's like a butcher paper. So I don't know. Here's one from his brother. This is original artwork. And this is an unseen. This was never published. It was a Harlem Globetrotters um, uh, project they did with the Harlem Globetrotters. Globetrotters. And the person I bought these from got them from the dealer that dealt with I think it was Martin O'Dell who created the not Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That's Ghost. He did Pillsbury Doughboy, I didn't know that till recently that he designed the Pillsbury Doughboy, character. But he also did the original Green Lantern. I was fortunate to meet him in '85 and '86. Met his wife in '86 as well. Sadly, he's gone too. But Martin Odell, that created the original Green Lantern and did a lot of the Golden Age and up into the Silver Age, and he was doing conventions at that time in his older years. And like I said, brought his wife the second year. EVS on the JDAs, Greg says, stream, it's Friday, so don't expect many to be here, but you can get views later. Well, that's fine. I can get views later. Yeah, they're just missing out, right? I mean, I'm going to show some original artwork that was never published, Globetrotter, signed by Sal Buscema, John Buscema's brother. But I bought these from, he, look at the creature and everything. So they had it going on, the action going on, but sadly, this never saw print. So this is unpublished artwork. And he's got the blue line panels, but he's got it fully inked in. It's pretty wild how he did that. And then the power lines, the brushwork coming off here. I mean, just a wonderful original page by him. Yeah. Um, Here is another production artwork signed by Bill Black. This is an unpublished Fun Comics number 4, I believe. They came out with 3 issues and they were going to come out with number 4. This is Captain Paragon that we viewed earlier in the video on, drawn in here by Bill Black. This was his layout in what was going to be, and this is the first time ever to show this, Fun Comics number 4 cover, what it would have looked like, unless he made changes. And I don't know if you bought Captain Paragon. I did pick up Captain Paragon in the early '80s when it came out, and we're going to see some other stuff that I got from Bill Black here. Some signed, some unsigned. He didn't do the artwork. This is another character design, and this is done like on tracing paper, on like vellum. Awesome stuff. Yeah, piece of comic history. Yeah, one of a kind items. And up here by my hand, you can see he's got in penciled in, these were character designs that were never used for Catman and Kitten, I believe, but it looks like Jaguar God to me, if you know that, a little bit, but it's got like almost a remark in pencil and then these character designs on that. And one of the first art pieces I got from one of the first conventions I went in 1983 in Memphis, I got Joe Staten to do. I thought he drew people a little bit better than he did superheroes, because the superheroes seem to be kind of lean to me. Although I've come to enjoy Joe Staten's work, he drew me a Clark Kent, and I gave him a recent reference of that. He had the classic fedora hat and glasses on, rounded glasses like you would have in the Golden Age, So it was like a little retro. Sadly, that one burned up, but he did it on vellum. He did it on thin paper, like tracing paper of that. Let's see what the chat's saying. Cool. I was checking in out yesterday. Nope, I didn't read that book. Yeah. Um, Few people have, but it's good. Bill Black had Paragon, and he was independently publishing long before he did AC. But he did ink for DC. He did ink for Marvel. And I've got, as I said earlier, he is a movie producer, and I've got most of his movies there. Some of the newer ones I don't have that he's produced. I started buying original artwork from him in 2014, and I don't have it in this batch, but I have an approval cover to a little digest size that he did, and he was nice enough to sign that and send that to me for free. And I do have that old Marvel book from the early, I guess it's a Marvel. It may be early Atlas. It's got those prototype characters before they came out in there. Um, and I'll have to show that off. I forget which one it is, but it came from his own personal collection. He picked that off in the stands originally in the 1960s, and he wrote me a nice little, I said I wanted a great COA, and he wrote me out I couldn't ask for any better. Hell yeah. Basically loved all Conan. Yeah, I will go in there in a minute, and I'll just get the stack. If you want to see more Conan, I'll show you all the John Buscema Conans, and we'll really deep dive into that. I was just pulled that one out as an example. That's one of the few ones that I have signed. I have two, three, four signed by John Buscema. He didn't sign them all, but he signed them big on those preliminary drawings. And a lot of people work that way. I think Andy Smith with First Man kind of works that way, but a lot of people do that digitally now. Um, Here is a character of his done like part of the Fem Force, I think. It's got cats all around it. It's done by Gorby. It was done in 2019, just penciled in. Um, Large piece. Look at that. It's got the sitting on the cat stand, and sorry that it's so sheer. You can see my arm shadow in there behind it. Sorry about that. Um, Charles wrote 4 issues of Conan. He's around the network. Good guy. Yep. Charles Santo. Yep. Yet Devil. Yep. Have you met Charles? No, I haven't met Charles yet. I don't think. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of Conan stuff. I have a ink Conan. I don't have it probably with those other preliminary drawings. You can put a one in the chat if you want to see some more Conan stuff. I will go in there and get the stack. If you don't, I'll do another stream with it. I just wanted to get in one stream tonight. I don't care if this is a lengthier one because I'm showing production and original art. Yep, big fan of Conan, Solomon Kane. Yep, Solomon Kane. I've got some other. I've got in my case in there. I've got the last project that he worked on and the last project that Gil Kane worked on, and Kevin Nolan, I think, did the cover and had to finish up the book because both passed away around the same time. Gil Kane started the project, and it was a DC book, and I've got some original artwork to that. Okay, you want to see some more? I'll show you some more. I had one or two, four books when I was a kid. Loved them. Yeah, Conan. My friend over in Tennessee, who's going to be working on my book a little bit, do some hand coloring stuff. I had this back with cardboard. This is dark. Uh, I get started on something and then go to something else. So forgive me. Got this is what happens when you do it old school. You get type falling off the original page. I must have original page underneath this that needs some attention and some framing. This is an unpublished dark shade. I do have the dark shade #1 cover, but this was one that Bill Black did himself, and he signed it over here off his shoulder, and then he re-signed it, so it's done for me at the time that he sold it to me, and it's done on like a real thin, but it's backed with another piece. Oh yeah, this is a sorry that piece fell off. Um, just a dialogue balloon. It can be put on, but this was a cover to one of those little digests. They've done no harm yet. Put them down. Yeah, this goes. This little dialogue balloon goes on this cover, I believe. I may have another one underneath that, man. How much did I grab here? I had it all kind of together. Oh yeah, this is one still wrapped up. But this is signed by Bill Black. This was been a little digest size, almost like a uh, book, not very big. But this was the cover to it that was published, and it does have. I do believe that one balloon came off this. It's him talking to this multi-eyed spider woman-looking character, and again, double side. He did the original artwork and put his little black down there in the box, and then he signed it at the time. So this is double signed, and this is the little digest. Woman of the starring the weird Dr. Weir and Woman in the Web and the Web of Horror. So couldn't really tell you. I do have the book. I couldn't tell you what really the title is. And that's the piece with the little balloon off of it. Sorry that I'm going to have to reapply that somehow. Yeah, Dark Side. Yeah. Did I show you that one? Not yet. Okay. Did you know Bill Black's Dark Side character? Um, No, 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 no. I'm not telling Solomon Kane to die. Solomon Kane, yeah, I thought, did you like the movie? The movie that they did, I thought was pretty good. and he reminded me, the main actor that did Solomon Kane in that, I couldn't get out of my mind, he looked so much like Hugh Jackman, that did Wolverine in the X-Men movies. Um, this is the unpublished. What do we got falling down? Maybe that dialogue? No, something else. Sorry about that. And then I'll quickly go in there and get that Conan stuff. This is an unpublished Dark Side #1. This is I really prefer this over the one they used, and it's double signed because you can see, um, if I've got my hands right here. Yeah, 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 yeah. On he's got black sign there, and then he's signed it down below, so it's double signed. But this was an unpublished cover for Dark Shade. Did I say Dark Side? Dark Shade #1. And see, that's pasted up there too. I've got to get these framed. Even the AC Comics is pasted up. And that's kind of the way we're doing Devil Flyer. We did it old school. But this stuff tends to yellow. Fortunately, he used a lot of whiteout on that too. Maybe that's why I didn't use it. But let's see. I found a move forgettable. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was a good I really introduced that character. Sorry, but that was one that I've just kind of missed reading out of all the Conan and Red Sonja and all that kind of fare there. Um, yeah, it was kind of forgettable. I thought it had some interesting undertones in it though, and interesting things, but I couldn't get a Hugh Jackman out of my mind. You know, and just his costume with his hat and was very striking. Yeah, they could do better with it for sure. It wasn't bad. It just don't do anything for me. Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. He mentioned it on Brian's show the other day. Lots of love. Okay. Well, let me go in there and get that Conan stuff real quick, and I'll be right back. Oh, I got one more piece here to show you. It's kind of wrapped up though. Sorry about that delay, Simon. Greg. Movie Von Helsing, Simon says, with Jackman was actually more Solomon Kane than Van Helsing, and that's why, that's why, and he did look like him too. Yeah, uh, yeah, yeah. Van Helsing, that was a Hollywood movie. I enjoyed it. You know, it was different fare for Jackman to do for sure. Now we're going to look at those countdown pages you want to look at. These are all preliminary. I only pulled one initially because I want to talk about different aspects of production artwork. If you go on my channel and see other streams that I've done, just getting started. So, if you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so that you can get notifications for other goodness. I put a bunch of Spidey stuff, first, second printings and other things, the original and promo giveaway from like Tide or something, and then the Marvel Tales. So I like to put different things in there so people can look and go, "Ooh, what's he got up there now?" Aquaman from the Snyder movie, Conan from the Sea, yeah. Whatever the medium, I expect Conan to be dark and brutal. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, he's got to be lopping off heads and limbs and you know, Mike Mighty Python, he says, it's just a mere flesh wound. Cut its leg off, cut another arm off or another arm. Yeah, Slain. Yeah. Horn God series. Yeah. We got some readers in CG, I tell you out there. Uh, Yeah, I mean, that's when writing comes straight out of the pulp era, you know, uh, Savage and The Shadow and Paul Faulkner's The Phantom, just out of that early 10 cent. Yeah, and rarely talks. Greg says also Conan rarely talks and never jokes. Yeah, that's right. I mean, if he does, he's maybe half drunk in a bar, and then he takes his big mead cup and hit somebody in the head. Sadly, I don't. I have these listed on eBay, so if you're interested, you can buy these. I don't come down much on the price of them. I do believe, his stuff goes for way cheap for him to be passed away over a decade now. John Buscema, one of the great sequential artists and illustrators. This and I don't think I've finished my tangent. I got these from a guy that got artwork that was the art dealer for John Buscema, Sal Buscema, his brother, and Martin Odell, as well as other artists. Martin Odell did Green Lantern, if you weren't in here, and he also designed out the Pillsbury Doughboy. I've actually got a Pillsbury Doughboy. I had to talk about more about Martin Odell. I have some signed Martin Odell. I have a color piece on heavy illustration board, fully colored and signed by him. And I think it says to Al. Well, Al was his art dealer. So um, I've got some Wally Wood stuff too that we'll have to bring out. Um, yeah, I do love the shadow. I love the pulp stuff. That was comics before comics, really were and yeah, I mean the Shadow movie way back when, I thought it was okay when it come out. It didn't, not a big Baldwin fan, but uh I don't know that it holds up, but it's just one of those early Marvel movies for sure. Okay. All right. The radio show are great to listen to. Oh yeah, I love the radio shows. You bet. I mean that radio was theater for the mind, I mean, before you had anything else, you just listened to these adventures that took you to different worlds, to different experiences. I mean, back then, most people didn't travel beyond 20 miles from where they were born, so that took them all over the world to adventures. And it really was theater of the mind. I love listening to like Rocket X or, just some strange, and you can get a lot of that on YouTube. I do that too. I put that on there, and more classics like Dune or Star Wars are streamed, and you can just listen and work and do whatever. I've loved listening to old radio like that and looking at old pulp books. In fact, I just bought a reprint, an early 80, 1980 reprint of a pulp book. I thought it was original, but I didn't quite look. But I mean, I thought that was unusual that they'd be reprinting old pulp book, classic pulp book from the 30s back in 1980. But occasionally printers would do type of stuff like that to keep the presses running and stuff. They always, anytime you shut down a press, you have to do different setup. The ink starts setting up and crusting over, and you also on glued books you have a spindle wheel, and it gets webbing. All the glue there collects under there, and you have to scrape it off with a scraper on some of those old presses that I used to work at World Color. I still own dozens of books that I bought just from the Bisley cover. Yeah, I mean Bisley's. You know, we won't even go into that because I want to get to this Conan stuff. But the only time I like Baldwin, yeah, 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 yeah. Still own dozens of books. Yeah, 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 yeah. The Bisley covers are, like nothing, like no other artist. Sorry, I mean, if you want to know, it's Fasas, Fasas. That's free and spontaneous artist. Uh, Something like that a couple of my friends came up with, and he's went by Fasas all that time. We share an eBay thing, and these are all up for sale. Uh, I do come off the price on them. You can make me an offer. I've had offers and I've turned them down. I've sold a couple pieces though of these preliminary drawings, and then he would do these preliminary drawings sometimes with notations. Most of them don't have. And then I have a Conan. I was going to talk about that. I've got a Bucky that he did, a small Bucky head, and what they did after the death, they chopped up a lot of this stuff into smaller drawings. And in fact, I hope to do an Indiegogo. It may take me 2, 3 years to get up to it, but I want to do a book on nothing but this Conan stuff, along with some other artwork, some Avenger pages and other things. If I do sell a page, I get a high quality scan done of it. Public domain character, I'm really thinking bring way back. Pope. Yeah, I mean, bring back, I mean, a lot I see a lot of CGers doing that, and it's an open field. Why not? And you can put your spin and take on it. I was like saying the original Daredevil that was published by Gleason was originally in his first appearance in a white and black costume, not a red and blue and yellow costume. And I would like to do a story starting out from that standpoint where he's just in his original white and black costume. Of course, I'd have to get something for reference, but I think I could probably work it out just from the color scheme. You know, it's probably about the same, except that it was in black and white, and they decided to colorize it. You know, but it was done intentionally. It wasn't just, well, we can't afford color, to do it. There are many anybody paid to work, but Conan Kane, or one that loved to. Yeah, Captain Battle is one of them. Yeah, man, Captain Battle, and I'm glad you know all these characters, both of you. You know, I barely remember Solomon Kane comics. I don't think read any back then though. No, I didn't either. I mean, and I've since picked up Solomon Kane Marvel. You know, Solomon Kane made a few appearances in Marvel in the '70s in the Bronze Age. So let's get to these pages real quick. These are done on, thinner paper, but not as thin as that tracing or vellum paper, and they're penciled in, they're roughed in, and I do have these mostly identified. If they're not identified, I don't think I have any. And I bought the volume set, the Dark Horse volume set out, where and identify these pages because when I bought them, they weren't identified. And man, I ought to put a backing board before behind these because, and I wanted to show this piece off too, but and I only gave 25.89. It's the original page. It's got a Ninja Turtle type figure, but I still haven't unwrapped it, and that's probably a good thing because it does have stick-on dialogue, I think, on it. But maybe you can see through there. Um, this is one of Bill Black's, and bought that for like 25 bucks. You can see the turtle. It's kind of a Ninja Turtle type figure. I think he's maybe even got a bandana on. So it may be a riff on Ninja Turtles. And this was from a published book that AC Comics did. And I haven't, I've just left it the way it is. Let's see if I can use this as a backing board for this other so that, you can see these. Yeah, that's better. The light doesn't shine through. You can see the Conan goodness. He's going underwater there, and just the partial face and the bubbles. Just great design. How he would just rough these in. And I think these are great. These are better than what you'll find in the magazine in Savage Sword of Conan. I've got some Avengers, and I got one Thor page. I saw the Thor page, and it looked like a riff on an earlier cover done by another Thor artist, and I'm drawing a blank on him. But let's see where I can put these right there, and then I'll use that as a backing board to keep the light out. Some of them are real simplistic. This one's a fairly simplistic one. Effective though. I mean, he knew exactly, and like I say, the gestorial drawings on these after you got on Tide inks, and Ernie Chan was probably the best inker to the inking, but it didn't quite blend well for me on the Conan stuff, the Savage Sword of Conan stuff. And this would have been approximately late '80s, early '90s. Like I say, you can go on eBay. I've got these all listed, and this next one coming up after this one has nose and eyes and a head. The borders. I even sold a piece that some kids' drawings on the back of it. from his kids because they'd be around the studios and they like to draw, and they would just take the back of one of these after he was done with it and start drawing on it or painting on it. Um, the one I ain't DC and Dynamite is yeah will be yeah well yeah I mean I've seen actually there's a sketchbook that was featured on that I have, and I said, "Yeah, that's the type of thing I wanna do." But you can imagine if I did a fundraiser, talk to the estate, get permission, and talk to Marvel, and, I don't think I've got any John Buscema well, I do have some John Buscema DC stuff, so I've got to talk to which was rare, of course, he was doing Dale Comics. I've got a comic from him in the 1950s, and it's an adaptation done by him of a movie, part of the four color run that I've talked about. Yeah, War Journal, Punisher War Journal, Wolverine, my favorite several years. Yeah, Sylvester Logan. Yeah, yeah. Uh, this is a simplistic one, and you'll see up here is page 45 of whatever it was, and it would circle and tell you what page it is. I'll try and get you a good look at it. And like I say, you can go on eBay, you know, uh, there's a cloaked figure right there. I don't know if you can make that out, but just, he put in the dark face and then, where the cloak would be. And there's other things in the foreground. He knew what he was going to draw. So he was just kind of setting up angle shots and stuff. And then Conan's looking at a note that's left for him that sends him on the adventure. Of course, by 45, you think, well, you ought to be into the adventure. But they had more than one story in a lot of those. Uh, they generally had about three stories. And I've collected some of those Savage sort of Conans as well. Now, this one here up at the top, as I said, has a nose, eyes. You can see where he was sketching out two eyes there, and then just a very light head and then this one here, I don't know if you can see it. I can see the light coming through. He's probably got about a dozen pinholes in that. So he's just tacking these things up. In fact, there's tack hole there. And a lot of them, you turn it around back and you might have been able to see that in the front. But you see that line across there? He would fold them. Somehow they got folded. Oh, actually, this here, yeah, is an Avengers page that I do not have listed yet, and this has the black Captain Marvel on it. You can see Captain Marvel there flying around in her light form. And this would have been an Avengers page. I've yet to identify this one yet, but she was only in so many of the Avengers, and she's punching somebody through a whole bunch of things. But it's interesting to put it up against, the book and see how it turned out. But I love the little notations, different things. I thought this was kind of weird. This next one coming up on just how he posed, but that's why he did these type of things for like correction um, purposes. Oh, this is actually from this has got the Thing, Ben Grimm. He's being slocked in the face, and then he's like holding his chin like this, and a stretchy character. Apparently, it wasn't. Well, it looks like a stretchy character. Um, this is from um, Fantastic Four 2099, when they were doing X-Men uh 2099 and all those books, and you got Spider-Man 2099 and all those early 90 books. Um yeah, this is a page from that. So it's not all Conan. I do have this one listed. It was page 13 of that issue. I think it's maybe issue 6. I'm not sure, but yeah, I thought this rump and leg thing looked a little obscured. But you see, and he's going up against a woman here, sort of a. But you see the Ben Grin holding his chin. He's getting walked there. He's showing the action lines and the foreshortening and everything. I thought that looked a little heavy, a little wonky there. Almost looks like he's grabbing Mr. Fantastic's arm in that hand close up, those two hands. But he's fighting this female warrior that throws him, and just a good, close up of Ben Grin there, and him being thrown from behind, showing the bottom of his feet. How many scenes have you seen of the bottom of the thing's feet? Yeah, Punisher 2099, Hulk 2099. He was pretty wild with that spiked tongue. Um, Lee and Claremont X Men was another of all. Oh yeah, man, you can't beat the Claremont and the John Byrne if you like the earlier Dave Cockrum stuff, but especially the John Byrne stuff, and just the resale value on those X Men books. You can tell. I mean, I had I've said in an earlier stream, I had the Avengers heads that went up in the little Ditko box in the top of in the corner. I had the John Byrne Avengers heads, and there was a Mockingbird that was just penciled in, was never inked, so it never, Too bad he didn't finish that one because they'd be used. How many times was that used? You know, wasn't too crazy about 2009 character designs. Yeah, I got a couple figures. I got Scarlet, um, that I got at Toys R Us. It pretty interesting with the different strap-on plastic pieces and things. They were the cheaper ones, but they're still in the box, never been taken out. Of Scarlet Spider and Spider-Man 2099, and of course he had really fat fabric webbing underneath his arms and stuff, and for his back cape there. But yeah, I think they were probably, uh, but they did something different. Back to another Conan page. Oops, sorry, got to put the backboard there. The light's going to show through. Here he's fighting almost like a I have to look. Sorry. Yeah, you have an old aged man here, and Conan really looking surprised. I'll give you a close up of it here in a minute. He's got a notation here, and I believe it says "open," like Conan's opening the door, and he's seeing this old man, and he's just stoically sitting there like a statue. And it looks like a um a panther, but to me, it looks panther-like, but it also looks like a Komodo dragon, that's attacking. And then you get a reaction shot of Conan's hand coming back, and he's got a notation here with an arrow saying tilt, like he's throwing his head back, and then show movement. He says move with an arrow here with the panther that's on. So he kind of repeats the scene here. And you get a close up of those ghoulish looking medieval guys that would have been, in the Conan books. This was page 26. Sadly, I don't know that like I say, you have to go on eBay. These are all from Savage Sword of Conan. So, and some of the latter, I've got a couple of pieces from the very last issue, which was probably not, pretty rare there. But this one's signed by John Buscema. Look how big he signed the signature. You can see the tilt there by his head, open where that scribbling is. He's notated, and then the close-ups of him. So he's just sitting there. And look at the shock expression on Conan in that first panel, and just how wiry he did the feet on the and just the indication of tail there. These are just really quickly done to lay out the pages, and you see the move notation there. But you frame these things. Look how big they are. You frame these things. This is a piece of art history, one of a kind item. If I decided to get mad and burn them, uh, they'd be gone forever. Yeah, you could experience the book, but I guarantee you, when the inks are laid over this, you don't get near as much movement, and it wouldn't be original, right? But yeah, I'm sure maybe the original pages maybe were saved because this was a time where they were saving them. This character here, the Spectre, a skull-like character, was in several different issues. I have some, my friend has some, and we've kind of tried to keep them all together. And of course, that helps me identify them. And he's got a chariot and horses in there. In fact, I've got a piece over there I'm going to grab right now that he did, the very first John Buscema piece that my friend, he was buying these up from the not from the art dealer, but the guy had gotten them from the art dealer of Sal Buscema, John Buscema, and Martin Odell and other artists. And I don't know who else he represented, but yeah, he presented to this. It's a horse in different various. You'll see it, and it's framed and matted. You can see just how a smaller drawing done by John Buscema looks matted and framed. So let me get that. Sorry, down there in the corner, and it's dusty. Hey, you treat your original artwork like that, and you got all this stuff sitting around in the raw? Yes, I do. Some of it, but this is a penciled. I think that is something that's gotten on there. Just it's dusty and it's gotten something, but that's why you put it under. This is plastic, not glass, but yeah, it's signed John Buscema. This was the gift to me from my friend. Sorry, man, it's so dusty. I'm gonna have to clean this thing, but you know, you can tell piece of artwork, man. This needs to be in a museum somewhere. But yeah, you can see the horse there and the signature. He was just doing different poses with the legs and got him kicking up in different ways and his head, the way it would go. See there on the top of his head that he's really inked. He was thinking about having him braying, you know, making noise, braying, horse brays, you know, you know, um, out there out straight, but he decided to give it more, you know. He had to work this stuff out just like other artists, you know. I really liked his take when he was talking about Frank Frazetta. He said Frank Frazetta was a great commercial artist. You know, a lot of people revere his uh, Frank Frazetta's oil paintings from his pulp magazines, but I like that that John Buscema uh, kept a realistic view that this guy is not get crucified for saying that this Frank Frazetta is not just a fine artist, like putting it in a museum or anything. Uh, and of course, they had the Frazetta Museum where they feature all those great covers. Up to that time, that stuff was thrown away. You couldn't even get it away. There was an auction in the middle '60s of like stuff like Frank Frazetta did for those little you know, or pocket books, and that were featured on there, the great Conan covers and all the other stuff, you know, if you know Fred Zeta. I bet you guys do. Yeah, you haven't. Yeah, I mean, I bought it back when it was cheap, you know. No, you know, it's all timing. It's like Pops Van Zant said. You know, somebody asked me, How do you get such a overtime and just lucky?" I mean, you know, I mean, and I don't believe in luck, you know, but uh, for the sake of argument, we'll say lucky. Yeah, I've been lucky, you know, and some things like this. Uh, it's in my other videos. I won't show it, but the 1947, I believe it is, cover with photo cover of Jack Kirby and Joe Simon. Um, Sitting there, uh, you know, to make up the cover, and they were kind of cosplaying and role playing, really. Um, um, anyway, I got sidetracked. Sorry about that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an impressive collection, and my first collection of 45 long boxes and original art burn up, and it didn't have to happen. The guy burning the place down on purpose, and there was 5 other businesses in that complex. So, and my father-in-law at the time said, uh, "You burn up $47,000." I told him it was approximate value of about $50,000. He said, "You burn up about $47,000 of worth of his stuff." And he said, "Well, if I'd known that, I'd told him to get it out of there." Well, why? I was paying my rent. I was only there a month, and I just paid the rent for the next month. And 3 days later, or a couple of days later, he burns the place down. I was inventorying my collection at the time, and it got so cold it didn't have heat in there. lost couch, chairs, all that stuff. It's just stuff. It can be replaced. But yeah, these one of a kind items like this. Yeah, I mean, you acquire it. I acquired most of this over a year's time, from that guy. And then after a while, I just stopped selling them. I got some great books from him. He was a member, the guy that was selling this stuff. He was had some books that I've mentioned on another stream. I've got this thick Jack Kirby book on Jack Kirby's life, and they were like in a club or an association, and they wrote some of the articles. In fact, he wrote one of the articles with pictures and stuff. I've never even cracked it open. It's in the safe. I've never even cracked it open. I was fortunate enough, a bank had went down, and I was fortunate enough to buy a big bank safe. So I've got a bunch of stuff in sliding drawer bank safes. They kept bankruptcy papers in it. So it's double walled, asbestos. This whole house could burn down and whatever's in there. If it's all closed up and everything, and I've got some original art and some comics that I want to kind of set aside that are like double covers, and things like that. Uh, got some other rare items, and I'll be breaking those out and cracking those out. I'm not just going to do this is another stream that's a little bit different for me. I've just been doing old books, slab books and other things, but I want to do original artwork. I want y'all to see this. I want you to see autographs. I've got William Shatner's autograph, and I've got Vic Minola, who also did. If I said it's wrong, say it real quick. Maybe they even know that he said it wrong, but that did the Star Trek fan movies and played Kirk. I've got his autograph in his Kirk suit, and the great thing about it is the William Shatner that I have. He's young and in his Kirk outfit garb, and yeah, I've got autographs and a little bit of it all, but I've got figures, toys, some Doctor Who. I want to do some Doctor Who videos, just a smattering of a lot of things. But I figured it was time to show some of the original artwork and talk a little bit more about. I've been talking about a little along the way. You don't just get to see these things. I talk about printing history and production artwork and things like that. Here's another Conan page. Again, he's got a chariot here, a couple horses. He's got swords, of course. He's got this one main villain's got him by the neck, the scruff of the neck, and he kills him, and he gives a close up of him. Um, there's the chariot with the horses and this skull-like character. You might even have, if you have some of these savage sort of Conans, but you just see how he gestorially, and then he throws him, but he gives him a close-up with the blood trickling out of his mouth. And just, I mean, boom, bop, bam, he ruled these lines in, he put his panels in, and even like, he did the straight outline here, but then he's like, okay, here and here, and I want this divided up like that. I want your eye to read it, and then he just and then he would put that on a light box and do his original, and how it's shown through that paper. I don't know, but I don't know exactly how he worked. Maybe y'all do, but nice. Yeah. Yeah. I'm fortunate to have some of these things to keep them in plastic things and tape. They're kind of home thing. I mean, he probably just got a roll of plastic, and some of them came in this. Some of them I didn't. I mean, I finally decided to put up, at least the option for people to buy them. Sold a couple pieces, but I had, like I said, high scans made and I think my friend, I don't know if he sold one, but look at this, just on that, just scribbling, just maybe testing his pen to see, maybe long before after he drew it. And I really should check on this. I mean, on the back, it has some notations. This says number 30. This says number 33. So it can't. And this one, he's being mesmerized. Conan's being mesmerized by this wizard type thing. And you got different, things of his expression. And you'd have to get the full effect. But if you got the books from Dark Horse that reprint this stuff, or got the originals. Like I went back and got the originals because I knew I had these originals. I got the original, got the books after I identified them and said, well, I need that magazine. I like to get the magazine, if I sell something, production artwork, I like to get an example of the book it came out of. And it just diversifies my collection, and I buy stuff that I usually wouldn't buy, you know, for that have in my collection. Like I was talking about, this one's signed by John Buscema. Ooh. Um, love these big signed ones. Unfortunately, I don't have as many, you know, sick, huh? Yeah. This one here, he's looking over kind of a dead man. And it's interesting. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but just the hair, he's got like a Van Dyke. He's got, a goatee and sort of a flared out mustache. But I mean, the dying expression on the guy's face, just little bitty drawing there, but he's got the expression there, and then goes and changes the angle, and they're walking through woods and stuff, and you got other characters at the bottom, close up of Conan there, but just the dying scene there, if you can see, just in a few little strokes, how he put, Conan over this guy who's dying and the rocks in the background, and then just the pull back shot there of the dead body, that he's died, and then that you get some trees and where they're going, and Conan's expression, and then the other characters that's in there. um and just how he quickly, and the axe that he's holding there, and the big old, look how big that signature is. Who wouldn't love to frame that? Come on, look how big that signature is. Here's my hand. It's as big as my hand. I love it. But, they're selling his stuff for about $200. I got, would you sell one of these for 175? I got an offer for 175, I think. And I said, no. I mean, his stuff goes for 250, and I'm asking more for that on eBay, but I also take offers. But these are going to be featured in a book, and maybe I crowdfund it. As soon as I get the licensing for it, all these pieces are going to be in there, you know, good scans, no doubt. Wouldn't take 100. I mean, it doesn't, and you go, well, I only gave this much for, well, doesn't matter what you gave for it. Here we got a throwing spear, more, it's got this skull-like character, and I think Conan's with him. He kind of travels with him. But I mean, look how abstract, everything can get. Got a circular moon here. So just the indication, a crescent. Conan in head garb, and they're throwing spears. You might not even be able to make out. You see faces there, see a body there. I mean, it's all done quickly, gestorially. He knew what he was going for. Look at that. He's all wrapped up in the face. They're flying on, being attacked from above, and they're throwing spears. And then you have the close up there, the cloak figures with the barbed spear there. That one's got a barb on it. And yeah, they're being hit on the ground, and you see them like call to arms, and you see a horse in the background there, galloping away. Well, you see two horses. You see one in the foreground there on that panel, and then even maybe, yeah. I mean, the way he just indicates the ground and rocks there, just very, and a little bitty circle up there for the sun or the moon, and that spear coming down through the sky. Well, you see them in the background in the sky. Interesting stuff. And I prefer this stuff over the stuff that's been inked in the magazine. Sometimes it just kills all the flow of it because, on magazines like that, you didn't get the best inkers. Like I said, Ernie Chan was probably the best inker on that stuff. I don't know how anyone could put a price tag on such art. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be released anymore, and this is early '90s stuff, right? Yeah, I mean, that was one of the hardest things I did, was to decide to put these up for sale. But I thought I would share the love as long as I get high quality resin, get scans of them, and if there's any notations or anything on back, But we'll be putting together a book. I pray we will be putting together a book, but I will have to get permission from the estate, Marvel, and DC to do it. Don't have much of his DC stuff. He didn't do a lot of DC stuff, but I do have some of it, and I could go in there and get it. But I got to save something for other. But I still got a whole stack going here, and we're going late. Pieces of cultural history are priceless to me. Yeah, man. I mean, this stuff was up to 1982. This stuff was destroyed. Production artwork like this, it was, unless it was kept by the artist, it was destroyed. That's why I really have a lot of, like, Walt Simonson very rarely gets rid of any of his artwork. He still has all of his original artwork, all the Thors and things that he did, and even the DC stuff that he did for DC in the uh, um, he did some Hercules, Unbound, and things like that in the Bronze Age in the mid 70s when he was first starting out. Um, and he's still got all that artwork. It's worth a fortune. He's going to retire on that somehow, or his family is. Piece of cultural history for sure. I back had a deal with something that looks great. I'm back. Well, great, Simon. Great. Um, yeah, you'll have to go back and see what you missed. And a lot of it's just me sitting here talking, but I hope I'm giving you good context and good history with these pieces. And again, this has got the skull-like character. He's in a lot of the issues there. You got a charging army in the middle, and you got Conan pissed off there in the last. Again, some of these have tacos where you tack them up. I don't know why you tack them up, but that's what often happens with production artwork. And this is production artwork. It's original artwork, but it's production artwork. And, production artwork that may just be printed, but still is part of the process of getting the book out there, or the magazine in this case, um, was readily discarded unless it was like file copy, put it in a file for reference. But it was just destroyed. I mean, yeah, I've got production piece up there from the 1940s, might even be from the 1930s. But it's a miracle any of that survived, because they couldn't give it away in the 60s. Some of it. Look at Conan's expression there. He is pissed off. You got the skull-like character behind him. You got the charging armada, and it looks like someone may have thrown a bolo. The balls with the, you know what a bolo is. Come on. And you got the character there, and then just an open scene there with the character. I think he carried a sai, so he may be carrying a sai there. That skull-like, red skull-like character that was in these. But give you back of it, just how he laid it out. I mean, this is what, like, Dan Fraga talks about. I like looking at preliminary drawings. This is the type of stuff he loves, because it shows you the art process of, I mean, just how he did an arm, or a shield. And some of this is very loose. Some of it's on other pages are tighter. It just depends. And some of the, can get quite heavy. He emphasizes certain things, but the the flow of vegetation. I know that that's vegetation in the background, maybe drapery, just from a few lines. The guy was a master at minimalism, of just putting the bare minimum down, but he used different angles. He had that down by this point. The different the worm's eye view looking up. That was what impressed me by George Perez, our early Beast, drawing, and it was a worm's eye looking up at the beast and him in a crouch. That just blew me away. Perspective and foreshortening, and he shows it all in these. And he's got a very cinematic eye. He knows how to switch up the panels and characters. Pissing off Conan is the worst ideal ever. I agree, Greg. It is the worst ideal ever to do that. I'm not telling you these page numbers, but like I say, another one with a big John. And like I say, that one might be a little smaller, but not by much. It's John Buscema. John Buscema artwork. Look at the cloaked figure there. Maybe you can figure out what's going on. You see him from back view there, and you see the downward stairs in his hand indicated there, just in a few lines. And you can imagine, he was quick with this. He was quick on this to to lay this out and stuff. And this is what the original artwork, that the final artwork would have went by, that would have been inked. But I'm telling you, when you look in some of those, they didn't get the best inkers on some of those magazines. So, you know, I just like the liveliness of the line. Some, but I mean, these are just the preliminary drawings. Here you've got approaching. It looks like he's got a Psylocke thing. Couple people on horses, one straight at you, one headed away from you, side view. He's got a shield on his back. There's a circle. Looks like a guy with a Ford, or he's cranking a couple things. An upward shot up on a wall with a big door. Person on a horse with the shield, and then he's got a notation here, says move, where guys getting kicked off a horse or something. But just how he indicates the archway, the gate, the moon in the background, the doorway, the walkway that he's coming straight at you on. I mean, look at that. That's pretty clear. This one's actually pretty clear. I can see that. See the horses there, and the tower in the background. I mean, in just a few lines. A few lines. Look, he's got, almost like in the Conan movie when they put him on that wheel to turn that wheel. He's cranking a couple things, probably to open the gate. And he's coming through the gate, and then it says move, and got that line there like he's being thrown off the horse or something, or throwing the other guy off of the horse, probably taking over the horse. But look at the upward shot at the top of the gate. You got the moon indicated there, and I don't know what else, maybe a figure, but the gate lines. Yeah, just, ma'am, come on, man. That's nice, clear. Put that pheasant under glass. Love the gestorial stuff, just how he could lay it out. I don't want to slow things down, but I really like to hear your comments. Check in on that. Again, the skull-like character. I think Conan's walking with him, and then they're encountered by these orc-like looking things, or these guys, and then he's got a sword in his hands, and he's lopping some heads off or something. Yeah, look at that action shot, those back legs and everything there, and the approaching soldiers. They're holding their weapons. They're all filed up behind each other, and look at the vista. Look at the downward, sort of backward shot there in this here by my fingers, and then Conan and the other character walking there together. They were in several issues together. I'm not sure what that character was, but great action page. That's page 35 of whatever issue it is. This is page 5 of whatever issue it was from. I do have, like I say, most of these identified. I would say most all these identified, except for the pages that Avengers page. Conan's on a horse. Got people stoning him, and even got pitchforks. And one catches. I don't think it catches Conan in the head. It's a close up of another character. Yeah, Conan's kind of cradling him, keeping him on the horse. He's riding with Conan, I think, or he's going to pick him up. He's got his hand out to pick him up in the first panel, and then he picks him up. But they're throwing and stuff. He's getting him out of this riot situation, but he unfortunately gets brained in the head, and Conan's having unconscious body, and he's galloping away from the figures. And I'll show you the last panel first. Just look, and that's the kind of way I did my Devil Flyer. It's just uh look how I did the mob in the background. Just an indication. The horse is better developed and stuff, and Conan and him holding him, but back in the background, you just see the dust lines, and you see that they're holding object and that they're mad charging, but just a few circular lines to indicate where they're at, and then getting brained in the head. I don't know if you can kind of tell oh yeah, the expression on his face. Here's his hair, and he's getting hit on kind of up by his forehead. There's his nose and eyes, and you probably see all that. But I mean, just in a few lines, you know, and then Conan there on the horse, and he's reaching down for him in the first panel. Here, let me pick you up and get you out of this. And then you got the mob there, and they break that fourth wall. They look towards you, back towards you, into the camera right here. It's looking right at you. The other guy behind him's got a torch, other pitchforks and rocks and stones being thrown at him. Yeah, I love his horses. The way he just indicated horse in a few lines. He would capture that down, and then he would flesh it out on the finished artwork. Ooh, yeah, we like some women. He's got a woman that he's scooping up in a pose on the first panel there in his arms, and again getting away from, or no, actually, I think he's not scooping her up. He's putting her down. I have seen the finished artwork to these, so yeah, he's putting her down. That's actually a pretty interesting story. Pulling out his sword and then being attacked, and then he's ramming his sword into this guy's gut at the bottom. But excuse me, look at he's setting her down, veiled figure. You get that. Look at that foot. Looks like it's got toes on it. Crouching. So these weren't just finished pieces. They were never meant to be finished but this was part of the production. He's being attacked. He's got his sword. They're coming at him. Got action lines there. And then, got him right in the gut. Probably poking all the way through. And the other guy's like, my friend, let me come over here and get my head cut off too. And you got the swaying lines, the action lines of where he was. Look at that. Man. Yeah. Just like how even if you don't know what it is, it's interesting to look at from a distance. The lines, the action, the way he paced it out, the way he put space between Conan and the crowd and in the middle where your eye is naturally going to go. My eye naturally goes up to that woman because, anyway, you know what I'm saying. That's page 37. All right, got another cover here. Let's see. Okay, page 22. And I'm probably got these in somewhat of an order, but this is the one where it has flop on it, and they flopped the image. He would have been headed the other way, and then he throws a hammer and is ricocheting it off something. There's a kid in the background with an expression. Mounts a horse. You see the kid's head from behind. He's galloping straight towards you. Got dust lines. Then you get a back view, and he's going down a trail. And then you get a close-up in the last panel. This is a very nice page. A Conan looking. Man, just such expression. I mean, look at oh, my gosh, look at that, man. Oh, man, he's in a foundry. And see, it says right there in front of him, it says flop. And in that finished thing, it is indeed a flopped image that he's headed the other way. For some reason, he wanted him headed the other way and not into the other. Maybe not to detract from this throwing, for ricocheting that hammer, And then you see the kid here, from behind, just a few lines indicated, and chain hanging up there. Seeing the foundry, it's just got a curly line going up there. That's a chain. I can make that out. And then he's got his sword hilt and sword there to the side of the horse. Horse is excited, mouth is open. He's in a pose, and then he's galloping forward, just very straightforward. And then the close up, him away, riding away, and then a close up of the grim looking Conan. Right? Just come on, man. Nice looking page. I guarantee you it probably looks better than I just like how he did. Okay, here's a dot for the eye on the kid, dot for the eye, and a dot for the nose, and a bigger dot for the mouth. And he's got enough hair, and he's in the scene enough. And then the back, he got chubby cheek and the hair indicated just in a few lines. I just like how simplistic he put some of these faces. And of course, he's a master of angles, of close ups and different, I'm really surprised he used this as much writing straight forward to you, but of course, it would be more detailed in the finished product. Here's number 44. Oh, this might be in the last issue. And these things weren't, there's a little piece hanging off there. Wasn't see that against my gray there, right there, my finger. These weren't these. He didn't even take time to cut these things too well. But you see a mother and child there, and it's being cradled, and Conan walking away to his horse in the stables, and he's going to mount his horse, and he looks back, and you got a other character that I believe gets killed here, pulling his sword, but he gets stabbed by another. Conan's going to go after him. I think that's the way the story went. And Conan's mad at him, and you see the dying expression on him. He's like, well, I don't have to kill him after all. That other person come up behind and killed him anyway. Nabbed him, and he mounts his horse to ride away. But all that storytelling on one page with the, get the light. There we go. The mother and child and Conan walking to the stables away. And just loose panels, and he's going to mount his horse, but he looks back and he recognizes this bearded and mustache guy, and he's going to take action against him. But then this other guy comes up and gets him. Conan, I don't know why he's still grim, but like you said, you don't want to piss off Conan. And then he's mounting his horse. These are large pages. I'm sorry I can't give better view of them, and you have to put some, they need to be framed where you can appreciate them from the overall design of them. But they're about like you would do original art page on, I guess size, but they got a lot of border on them. This page 31, a woman, flowing hair, riding away on a horse another side view of her, the pursuers coming after them that have helmets, horned helmets on their heads and spike on top. And this is signed by John. His J there, the ink kind of gave out on him to get it started, but very fluid. A signature, big signature. This is smaller than on some of them, but still nice signature, John Buscema. But nice horse. Look at those lines, those sweep lines on the legs, the neck, side view, the pursuers there. And then you get a better look at them, that they're armored up and everything. The bridles on the horses, they almost look ape-like. I mean, he just indicated this is a big barbarian looking guy. But look at, oh man, just a little bit of dark areas that he has here and here, and just, I mean, you can tell that from a distance what it is. This is more of a complete one, in my opinion, of what he, but see how he pasted out and everything. Panels, I mean, and that's 4 panels. That's all that is. 4 panels to tell that much story. Some of them have more pages, like more panels in them. This has got like a dinosaur, a creature, a snake, but it's not a snake because he's got an arm. He's got a claw. It's a snake-like head, but he's got almost looks like a T-Rex, and it's got a wise man in there, and he's just barely indicated on one panel here, just barely. I'll show you here in a minute. Let me check the chat one more time. I need to go. It's been fun. I'll catch the rest on the playback. Okay, Greg. All right. Thank you, brother, for coming by. Appreciate it. Now you have to buy those issues. You can see how they ended up. No, I don't have to buy them. I've already bought them. So, yeah, I tried to get the issues. that was one way I identified them, and I wanted to compare them in color if they were in color. I think it was black and white, but yeah, and see who inked over these lines. Of course, this isn't the what we call the original art, but this is preliminary drawing. This is what Dan Fraga talks about all the time. He likes. Um, we got Conan here with that T-Rex type character. You see here the T-Rex type character, the sage like, and then he's got an arrow like your eye should be down here, and just the indication of a couple of figures. Conan there with a claw, and then the snake like head coming down with the wise man in the background, an archway, and Conan reacting, and then getting real close, and then the beast mouth open right there, about ready to snap Conan's head off. And look at the grimace on Conan's face there. But look how he just did the arrow down on that panel underneath this one and just has an indication of figures. Not much at all. Not much at all. Just a preliminary, he knew what he wanted to do and he put it in there. But look at that. Another multi-panel page. But he could do a lot in just four panels. Now this one's going to be real special. And thanks for Greg and Simon coming in. Hadn't got any Russian bots yet that I saw. And yeah. This is a splash page. And this one I really, really like to keep. I think I did put it up for sale, but he's on a horse in a crowd, and the crowd's reacting to something. You got a face looking backwards, and just the simplicity. But this is a splash page to the issue, and page 1. And I thought, out of all of them, this is the one that I really like. Oops, sorry. You see the rooftops there, some trees indicated where my fingers are. There, the crowd, the side people, the expressions on people's faces there in the foreground. Probably more detail there, but Conan on the horse. I think he's just skidding in because he's pulling back on the reins and the horses, but they're reacting and laughing to something. Look at the expressions on the people, but look at just the lines, indications. Very simplistic, but a nice overall. Wish this one was signed. Conan splash page with him on a horse and people laughing and going somewhere, and he's coming in town going, well, I wonder what's going on. All right, I got a few more and then we'll finish up. I know this one's going long, but hopefully you're if you're a Conan fan, I probably should have. I didn't know I was going to put all these Conans on and go this long, but that's fine. This one's only 3 panels. Got a woman in there, Oriental feel to these characters, samurai sword, edge, cloud indicated, and the edge of a cliff there in the first panel. Very simplistic. Got great John Byrne woman's face. Sorry about that. She's sitting there, edge of a cliff, cloud indicated just by a line or two. All these figures and the details with their samurai sword on the side and their caps and everything. And you can see a little bit more about that. Only 3 pages, 3 panels on this page. Clouds indicated behind them. She's distressed look. Page 45, whatever issue that is. So one of these days I had to come back in there and edit and put little inserts in there, and I'll tell you what issues these are from. We can always edit. Page 41, it's got a little notation 1150 up there. I don't know what that's about. And I hadn't even looked at the back of these. This has got a notation of 147. Some of those were clues for me to identify them. Most of them been folded in the middle, but be pressed out a little bit more. Matted frame. You got a crowd scene here. They're kicking over some stuff and thinking they're being badass. Conan's reaction shot to it, along with an Oriental friend there. And then Conan goes into action and stops these bad guys, I think. In that, I'd have to look. Or he's still tearing up stuff. Looks like Conan's back there, though. But then it goes to a close up with the Oriental guy. Oriental guy is starting to kick butt, and they're teaming up. I don't know, but I like how he nice lines. Nice how he did the corner there in that one panel of the building. Just how he up here at the top, indicated things in the background that would have been, details, background details in the city. You can tell what, something going on there. And then a close up of the two guys there again, hair flowing out, action. See his hair's all straight there. He's just kind of reacting, looking over his shoulder, what's going on. Got bullies, in Oriental garb or whatever, Mideastern garb, knocking over some stuff. It looked like a guy kicking him over. Of course, Conan don't like that. Injustice. So we'll take care of the problem. As I said earlier in the chat, you don't want to piss off Conan. Now this one got some rubbing on it. It's got some, and actually sewed a piece to this issue because it's got the monkey men. This has got like men that live up in the trees, and on that one that I sewed, and I believe don't know if I got a scan of that one or not. I think I did. It shows their village. They're clasping their weapons. I don't know why this is. I guess this was up against some other, we got archers in there. This is page 15. Close up of him pointing, and then you got some bows there seen from behind. And then you got the monkey man coming down on them out of the trees with their spears and stuff. You can tell that one guy's got a tail. They were like crude monkey men. Had a whole village of like these Ewok hutches and stuff on that other page. I've seen their books. Almost done here, folks. Just covering, see if anybody's come in the chat. That's a fine collection. Thank you, Simon. Yes. A fine little collection, isn't it? Yeah, I got quite a few of them, and my friend's got even more of them. I've got a Conan head that's fully inked, a close-up of him. It's just a small little piece. And then I've got a Bucky that I mentioned earlier that's half penciled, half inked. He only half inked it. But Bucky, sidekick, this has got some notations on it. I think maybe he was doing some business sometimes, this has got 3 all lined up, got a name above it or something. He's got he was dividing something here or something. These are little nuggets, you like to see these in the little drawings and stuff, little remarks they put. Sword fighting, this has got the skull-like character, and he liked to grab people by the throat and choke them to death, and that's what's happening. This guy's dying with blood coming out. He might have had his tongue hanging out, I think, on the last panel there as he dies. But he liked to grab people by the scruff of the neck and choke them to death. See the close-up of his hand around his neck and the guy's tongue sticking out. And, this setup shots there in the beginning with the swords. Nice little layout. About 6 panels. That's interesting to look from page to page. Of course, it's the issue. We'd have to know what issues, but to see how many panels. I mean, he did that other one very simplistically in 3 panels. Not simplistically, but he did it in 3 panels. This one's got 6, we've got some that's got others, and you've been seeing them. You got just different take things. Here's the skull-like character, and again, he's grabbing two guys by the neck and choking them to death. Conan picks up his sword and goes to swinging on these guys because they're fighting together. And then in the last panel, the skull-like character is breaking the guy's back and neck, probably because he's like, oh! Look at the last panel there. Got his hand around his head. Not only is clutching his back, but it's like it's breaking his neck, and his little Conan ripping into him with his sword. Conan picking up his sword there. Just swinging, His first panel has got them both by the neck and killing them. Right here, he's got them by the neck. Can you see that? Very simplistically done, just in a few lines. And then back here you got, more complete look at what he's doing. And they're gasping for air. The guy's grabbing the sky. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels on that one. These things are so big. I'm sorry you can't get a better look at them, but it's been fun. Got a lot of bang for my buck. Got about 3 pieces left here, I think. But I got more. I got more. This is just what was in that stack. He's fighting a panther here, I believe. And he's pulling out a knife, and then he's going to knife him. He kills the panther. Panther or lion, he's a horse might be in that panel. I don't know. It may impact him. At first, he's jabbing a torch in the panther's mouth. That's what's happening right there in that first panel. He's jabbing a torch in the panther's mouth. And then maybe his horse and him in that second panel. I'm not sure. And then he mounts him, and he's like in a Tarzan pose, going to knife him. And then, of course, the other one, the panther's dead with his tongue hanging out. Almost looks like, unless he had, I don't think the torch stuck there. It looks like he might even have a torch over him there. But just the shot, the angles that you get. And he did this in 4 panels. But look how elongated, the things are going when he's jumping on his back. And I mean, look at that, man. Beautiful. The legs kind of spraying out, just the way the panther's positioned and everything. That's page 8, whatever issue that's from. Again, these are all from Savage Sword of Conan, John Buscema preliminary drawings. Conan's headed away. He's heavily drawn here, away from the scene. And then him like raising his sword to these on, I think, and then you go back into the fighting in the next panel. So, and he's got like 3 vertical panels down here and 1 large horizontal panel. So he's done it in 4 panels again, but laid out differently. Again, just some indications of things that it might be a little hard to on some of these to make out what's going on, because he did do them so loosely. But look how maybe he wanted him in shadow. I'd have to check the original, but he really did Conan heavily there, storming off with his sword. And then a distance shot of the, these horizontal panels here with the expressions. Not much of expressions, but he kind of knows what he's going for there. It's a shield. It's like a double shield there. I mean, double circle to make the shield, but it's cutting into stuff, like sticks, fighting with sticks, It just indicates the sword. It's a little bit more detailed on some than others. But there's an overall, this was page 36, still nice. A little heavy-handed up here on Conan for some reason, but the vertical panels down below. Interesting way to lay something out. Hey, give me a 1 again if you're still in there. Or really traditional. You're still with me, aren't you, Simon? Appreciate all the comments, and I got one more here. But you can watch this on replay too. This is a wraith-like character coming out, skull-like, skeletal-like character. Conan, pissed off expression in his face. It's kind of clutching hand toward you, in the foreground toward the reader. He picks up like a pickaxe and he beheads. And this is heavily done too. This is on this last panel. This is a lot of lines, but he's beheading that creature. A lot of motion lines, trying to get the, right angles, right gestures down, right character, skeletal like character there. Nicely, maybe with some bodies of people he's killed. Conan reacting with the hair flayed out again, and his arm right there in your face, and he's picking up pickaxe, and it's just unloading. And that's only 4 panels. The little pickaxe being another panel. Close up. Nice, huh? Yeah, okay. You enjoying the show, but you're working at the same time. I understand, brother. I streamed all day yesterday up to 9:30 in the morning on a stream. Not my own stream. It was Tank Ferret's stream. We had a good time, and I did a couple before that, and then put up some content on there. But I see we're at about a minute 56 mark, so I'm going to close it down, and I'm going to put this stuff up and get some other stuff down. I know I've got some other Buscema stuff, and like I say, I'm going to do some uh, more original artwork, more production artwork, more old comics. I want to do some Godzilla and King Kong action figures. I want to show with some Creature of the Black Lagoon that I have. So, mix it up a little bit, show you a little bit of everything I have. Doctor Who video coming here pretty soon, hopefully. Put together something about that. Who knows what I'll dig up out of the treasure chest. Hell yeah. What were you hell yelling about? What are you hell yelling about? What are you getting really excited about? I'd like to know. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that next. So tell me your preference, Don't just give me a hell yeah. But yeah, I want to mix it up. I want to mix it up and get into the treasure chest, a little bit deeper. But I get this stuff out, I had to put it back up, right? I mean, and I got a lot of it boxed away, but I got a whole 2 whole collector's room up there with all kinds of stuff hanging up. Yeah, Godzilla, King Kong, all those kaiju, huh? All them old monster comics. Yeah, man. I got some monster comics and old monster mags and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what got me into comics. Was sadly, I don't have all of it anymore. But I've got some interesting stuff. Art Adams did. Oh yeah, man, he did some great Godzilla, didn't he? Those are some of my favorites and some that were lost in my collection. I've reclaimed some of them in that fire, but yeah, man, Art Adams, he's my favorite on Godzilla. He does monsters really good. I like how he's done some monster projects when they were doing that Monsters Unleashed. But yeah, we're gonna do some Godzilla. We're gonna do some King Kong. I got a big King Kong, of course, and I got 2 more at the store. I got to get some money and go down there and buy them. Yeah, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I got a nice one of him that I got at Hastings. Big old mitt palm. And I got some other I've got the little Burger King one that he looks like he should glow in the dark. He's like clear green plastic. And I've actually got signatures. I've got an autograph, a couple of signatures. I'll show you one because it's with a photo. The other one's just a signature from the same guy. There was 2 guys in the Creature from the Black Lagoon suit, and I've got a signature by the one. I can't remember if he was the one that was the diver. He was a diver, and he had on some of those takes he had to hold his breath for 4 minutes underwater, and then you have one in the suit on dry land. And he might be the one that the signature is. I had to check on that. But I have a signature of him holding the girl. And of course, it's a famous story. He hit the actress's head on the rock scenery, and she had to be bandaged up. I saw a picture recently where they were stopped filming to bandage her head up and see if she was okay. But yeah, I've got his autograph, and I've got another stretchy one, a stretchy Black Lagoon character. I've sold one. I kept the other one. Mine might be missing one of the figure. Might be not fully formed and was an error. I like to keep some errors sometimes. Yeah, Adams did the comic adaptation. I got the monster trade and a few art books. Man, trades are great, and like I've mentioned on a earlier stream just briefly, that I paid 50 something dollars for the Eternals #1 trade, which is low print, I think, and hard to find. And that was before the Eternals movie came out, and craze for all that stuff. But I was looking for it, looking for it, looking for it. I got volume 2 for $15. Now it goes for like 70 or $80. And they were prevalent. I wish I had taken my own advice and copy. I would have resold that bad boy right before the movie come out for that price, made a little profit. But the first one, I've seen that listed for 175. Most of them listed for over 100. I was fortunate to bid on it and get it for 50 something. So volume 1 and volume 2 of it, and now I have 2 complete runs of Eternals. I'm not letting loose of my 2 complete runs. And the reason I do, Elsie gave me part, the other collection, but I had some too. I got it before the movies come out. It's just ahead of the curve on that. Well, that's it for this time, and I thank Simon and for coming in, and Greg, and really thought might have some more stream, but it's hard to stream against EVS. Uncle E, we love you. Hell Comics Gate, and thanks for coming in, and especially listening at work. Catch it on replay if you can, and tell your friends. New channel up with new content and some treasures to be seen. Be putting up some new artwork and stuff. Who knows? I've even got a Godzilla uh, something besides the toys, a paper piece. So we're going to have to see what we got in the treasure chest, aren't we, folks? So till the next time, y'all be good. Bye.